In 1960, we fell in love with a widower and his boys, creating memories that would last a century. But as the black and white static fades, the real stories emerge from the shadows of the past. Some cast members are unrecognizable today, while others have left us far too soon. Join us on this emotional roller coaster as we uncover the then and now of the iconic My Three Sons stars. Fred McMurray as Steve Douglas. Born on August 30th, 1908 in Kankakak, Illinois, the established film star transitioned to the small screen to anchor this wholesome family sitcom. At the age of 52, McMurray's portrayal of the widower and aeronautical engineer became the gold standard for television fatherhood. As the calm, pipe-smoking patriarch guiding his sons through life's tribulations, he provided a sense of stability and warmth that resonated with audiences for an impressive 12 seasons, making the Douglas family a household name and cementing the show as a cornerstone of 1960s television. Despite the character's reputation as the constantly available and patient father, the reality of the production was starkly different due to McMurray's shrewd business acumen and desire for leisure. Unlike the devoted dad McMurray was known for being somewhat distant on set and pioneered the infamous McMurray method, where he filmed all his scenes in a condensed 65-day block before leaving the other actors to film around his absence. This created a disjointed and difficult working environment for the cast, particularly the younger actors who often had to emote to empty chairs. Furthermore, the role significantly altered his career trajectory. Once a celebrated noir actor, known for darker roles like in Double Indemnity, the immense popularity of Steve Douglas typecast him permanently as the benevolent, Disney-esque father figure overshadowing his dramatic range. Fred McMurray remained a Hollywood icon until his retirement, largely retreating from the spotlight after his final film appearances in the late 1970s to focus on painting golf and his ranch. He enjoyed a long and happy marriage to actress June Haver, with whom he adopted twin daughters, embracing a quiet domestic life away from the cameras. McMurray passed away in Santa Monica, California on November 5, 1991, at the age of 83, succumbing to pneumonia after a long battle with leukemia. He was interred at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, leaving behind a legacy that bridges the gap between the golden age of cinema noir and the classic era of the television sitcom. William Frawley as Bub O'Casey. Born on February 26, 1887, in Burlington, Iowa, the veteran entertainer brought a lifetime of vaudeville and film experience to the role of the gruff but lovable grandfather. At the age of 73, Frawley's portrayal of Bub O'Casey became the domestic anchor of the Douglas household, serving as the apron-wearing housekeeper and maternal figure to the three boys. His gravelly voice, comedic timing, and Irish charm helped launch the series into popularity, establishing Bub as a beloved cultural archetype of the curmudgeonly caretaker with a heart of gold. Despite playing the role of a devoted family man and responsible guardian, William Frawley's real-life persona was starkly different. He was a cynical, hard-drinking bachelor, known for his cantankerous nature and solitude. While Bub was the glue holding a family together, Frawley often isolated himself and struggled with a reputation for alcoholism that had plagued his career since his days on I Love Lucy. This struggle with alcohol and deteriorating health led to a devastating professional conclusion. Midway through the series' run, the studio's insurance company declared him uninsurable. Consequently, he was fired from the production and replaced by William Demarest, a dismissal that left Frawley bitter and heartbroken. After his involuntary departure from the series, Frawley made only one final on-screen appearance, a brief cameo reuniting with Lucille Ball on The Lucy Show in 1965. Less than a year after leaving My Three Sons, while walking down Hollywood Boulevard, after seeing a movie, he collapsed on the sidewalk. William Frawley passed away on March 3, 1966, at the age of 79 from a massive heart attack. He was dragged into the lobby of the nearby Knickerbocker Hotel by a nurse who had witnessed his fall, but he could not be revived, marking a sudden and lonely end for one of television's most recognizable character actors. Tina Cole as Katie Miller Douglas. Born on August 4, 1943, in Hollywood, California, into the famous musical King family, she was immersed in entertainment from childhood. At the age of 24, Tina Cole joined the cast of the long-running sitcom My Three Sons during its 8th season. Her arrival as Katie Miller marked a pivotal shift in the series, introducing a permanent female presence into the previously all-male Douglas household and revitalizing the show's dynamic. Her character's marriage to Robbie Douglas and the subsequent storyline featuring the birth of their triplets became a massive ratings success, cementing her status as a wholesome cultural icon and a beloved figure of late 60s television. While Katie Douglas was portrayed as the ideal happy housewife living a perfect domestic life, Tina Cole faced a complex emotional reality behind the scenes. In a stark contrast to the marital bliss shown on screen, Cole had entered a real-life romance with her co-star and on-screen husband Don Grady. When their engagement broke off, they were forced to continue filming as a loving couple, a professional obligation she later described as deeply painful and awkward. Furthermore, despite the show's high ratings, it was abruptly canceled in 1972 to clear the schedule for newer programming, leaving the cast without a proper finale. Following the show, Cole struggled significantly with typecasting. The industry viewed her so strongly as the nice girl that she found it nearly impossible to land serious or edgier dramatic roles. Tina Cole eventually stepped back from the rigorous grind of Hollywood auditions to focus on music, performing for decades as part of the King family singers, and later teaching acting to children. In recent years, she embraced her sitcom legacy, appearing at nostalgia conventions and releasing a memoir titled My 3 Lives to share her journey. As of 2026, at the age of 82, she remains active in the classic television community, continuing to engage with fans and honoring the memory of her television family. Sherry Jackson as Terry Calhoun. Born on February 15, 1942, in Wendell, Idaho, the actress was already a seasoned veteran of the screen when she joined the cast of My Three Sons. At the age of 18, Jackson stepped into the recurring role of Terry Calhoun, portraying the high school love interest of the character Chip Douglas. Her performance provided a charming and realistic depiction of teenage dating in the early 60s, helping to ground the sitcom in relatable family dynamics. Already famous for her previous work as a child star, her presence on the show added star power and contributed to the series becoming a cultural staple of the era. Despite playing the role of a typical sweet teenager, Sherry Jackson was personally battling the stifling expectations of a Hollywood system that refused to let her grow up. Having spent years famously playing the wholesome daughter Jean on The Danny Thomas Show, she found herself in a constant struggle against severe typecasting. The contrast between her own desire to tackle mature, complex roles and the industry's insistence on keeping her in juvenile parts was a source of professional frustration. She had to fight hard to break the daddy's little girl mold, eventually taking on alluring and dramatic guest roles in other series just to prove she was an adult capable of range beyond family sitcoms. Sherry Jackson eventually succeeded in redefining her image, becoming a cult icon for her memorable appearances in 1960s classics like Star Trek and Batman, before stepping back from acting in the early 1980s. As of 2026, at the age of 84, she is retired and resides in Los Angeles, largely living a private life away from the cameras. While she no longer performs, she occasionally makes appearances at nostalgia conventions, where she is celebrated by fans not just for her time as a child star, but for her successful transition into a versatile actress during the golden age of television. Don Grady as Robbie Douglas. Born Don Louis Agrati on June 8, 1944 in San Diego, California, the young performer had already gained experience as a Mouseketeer before stepping into the role that would define his career. At the age of 16, Grady's portrayal of the level-headed, handsome middle brother Robbie Douglas captured the hearts of a generation and became a central pillar of My Three Sons. Over the course of the show's massive run, he grew up on screen, evolving from a teenager to a husband and father, cementing his status as a teen idol and a cultural symbol of the wholesome American son during the turbulent 1960s. Despite the clean-cut suburban image of Robbie Douglas, Don Grady was a complex artist with a profound passion for music that far exceeded the requirements of a sitcom actor. This artistic drive created a distinct contrast between the man and the character. Grady often felt creatively stifled by the repetitive nature of the series and the producer's reluctance to fully embrace his musical talents. His professional journey was marred by the frustration of being typecast, leading to a strained departure from the show before its final season ended, as he sought to break free from the good son mold that made finding diverse acting work difficult. Don Grady successfully pivoted away from acting to build a prolific second career as a composer and musician, writing the theme song for The Phil Donahue Show and co-writing the stage musical EFX. He dedicated his later years to his music and his family, including his wife Ginny and their 2 children. Don Grady passed away at his home in Thousand Oaks, California, on June 27, 2012, at the age of 68, following a battle with cancer. His death was mourned by his former castmates, marking the end of a life that successfully transitioned from child stardom to respected musicianship. William Demarest as Uncle Charlie O'Casey. Born on February 27, 1892 in St. Paul, Minnesota, the veteran entertainer joined the cast of My Three Sons later in its run, stepping into the chaotic Douglas household to replace William Frawley. At the age of 73, Demarest's portrayal of the gruff cello-playing former merchant marine became an instant classic, seamlessly blending curmudgeonly behavior with genuine warmth. His addition to the cast revitalized the series, helping bridge the show's transition from black and white to color, and his deadpan comedic delivery cemented Uncle Charlie as a beloved grandfather figure to a generation of television viewers. While Uncle Charlie was known for wearing an apron and managing domestic crises, William Demarest was a rugged individual with a background in professional boxing and a prolific career in classic Hollywood cinema, notably as a favorite of director Preston Sturges. The contrast lay in his transition from playing cynical, hard-edged film characters to a domestic sitcom babysitter, a shift that required him to soften his image for a family audience. He faced the professional difficulty of joining a well-established hit series and winning over fans who were loyal to his predecessor, a high-pressure situation that could have easily failed. Furthermore, the grueling schedule of a weekly single-camera sitcom proved physically demanding for an actor in his late 70s, yet he remained a professional anchor for the show until it ended. William Demarest largely retired from acting following the cancellation of My Three Sons in 1972, appearing only sporadically in projects like Wonton Ton the Dog Who Saved Hollywood and The Millionaire, before withdrawing from the public eye. He spent his final years in Palm Springs, California, enjoying a quiet retirement after a career that spanned vaudeville, silent films, talkies, and television. William Demarest passed away on December 28, 1983, at the age of 91 from battling prostate cancer and pneumonia. He was interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, remembered as one of the industry's most enduring and distinct character actors. Barry Livingston as Ernie Douglas. Born on December 17, 1953, in Los Angeles, California, the young actor joined the cast of My Three Sons in 1963 to revitalize the show's dynamic after the departure of the eldest brother character. At the age of 9, Livingston's portrayal of the bespectacled snaggle-toothed orphan who was adopted into the family became a cultural sensation. His character Ernie provided a relatable and adorable nerd archetype that resonated with audiences, and his presence helped extend the series' lifespan for another 9 years, cementing him as one of the most recognizable child stars of the 1960s. While Ernie was the quintessential awkward and innocent child, Livingston was growing up quickly in the high-pressure environment of Hollywood, often feeling the need to be more mature than his years to survive the industry. The contrast between his real-life maturation and his character's perpetual youth created a unique challenge, but the true struggle began after the show ended. Livingston faced severe typecasting, finding it incredibly difficult to be taken seriously as an adult actor because casting directors could only see him as Ernie. The cancellation of the show in 1972 left him without the safety net he had known for a decade, forcing him to scrap for guest roles and fight against the child star curse that claimed the careers of many peers. Barry Livingston persevered through the lean years to reinvent himself as a highly respected character actor, securing roles in Academy Award-winning films like The Social Network and Argo, as well as acclaimed series like Mad Men. He embraced his history by writing a memoir titled The Importance of Being Ernie, and maintained a stable family life, remaining married to his wife Karen since 1983. As of 2026, at the age of 71, he is still an active member of the Screen Actors Guild, with a steady resume of credits. He continues to make appearances at nostalgia conventions and acts in both film and television, standing as a rare example of a child star who successfully transitioned into a lifelong career in entertainment. Stanley Livingston as Chip Douglas. Born on November 24, 1950, in Los Angeles, California, the young actor became a fixture in American living rooms through one of television's longest-running sitcoms. At the age of 9, Livingston began his tenure as Chip Douglas, the bespectacled, pragmatic, and often sarcastic son in the Douglas household. Over the course of 12 seasons, audiences witnessed his character physically and emotionally mature, from a mischievous child into a married man, a rare continuity that helped cement the show as a comforting cultural pillar of American family life during the 1960s and early 70s. While Chip Douglas was known for his dry wit and typical adolescent comedic situations, Stanley Livingston was a serious-minded professional fascinated by the technical aspects of filmmaking. The contrast between his real life and his character lay in the loss of a conventional childhood. He spent his formative years on a soundstage rather than a playground, a sacrifice that isolated him from his peers. Professionally, he faced the immense difficulty of breaking free from the child star stigma once the show concluded. The cancellation of My Three Sons in 1972 left him at a crossroads, struggling against typecasting in an industry that struggled to see him as anything other than the character he had played for over a decade. Stanley Livingston eventually pivoted from acting to working behind the scenes, carving out a successful niche as a producer, director, and editor to regain control over his creative path. He notably produced The Actor's Journey, a project dedicated to educating aspiring performers about the business side of Hollywood, and maintained a close bond with his real-life brother Barry Livingston, who played his adoptive brother Ernie on the show. As of 2026, at the age of 74, he is largely retired from active production, but remains a cherished figure in the classic television community, frequently attending nostalgia conventions to honor the enduring legacy of the Douglas family. Jaime Farr as Itchy. Born on July 1, 1934, The Toledo, Ohio native appeared in the classic sitcom My Three Sons during its inaugural season. At the age of 26, Farr's portrayal of Itchy, a beatnik friend of Robbie Douglas, served as an early showcase of his comedic versatility and ability to embody specific cultural archetypes of the era. While the role was a guest appearance rather than a permanent fixture, his performance contributed to the show's authentic depiction of the shifting 1960s youth culture, helping to ground the series in the reality of the time while establishing Farr as a memorable character actor capable of stealing a scene. Despite playing a counterculture beatnik character, Jaime Farr's real-life persona was that of a disciplined Army veteran and a devoutly religious, family-oriented man. This contrast highlighted his acting range, but his early career was plagued by the brutal instability of Hollywood. Following his initial start, Farr faced significant professional hardships, struggling against typecasting due to his Lebanese heritage and distinctive features. He endured long stretches of unemployment, where he was unable to land substantial roles at one point, nearly quitting the entertainment industry entirely to work in an Army surplus store just to support his family before eventually finding his footing. Jaime Farr eventually transcended his early struggles to become a television icon, specifically through his later work on MASH, though he never forgot his roots as a struggling day player. He spent his later years focusing on regional theater, including a tour of Tuesdays with Morrie, and dedicated much of his time to philanthropy, specifically hosting the LPG. Jaime Farr Toledo Classic for many years. As of 2026, at the age of 91, he is enjoying his retirement in California, celebrated as one of television's most enduring figures, and maintaining a marriage to his wife Joy that has lasted for more than 60 years. Tim Considine as Mike Douglas. Born on December 31, 1940, in Los Angeles, California, the actor was already a recognizable face from his Disney stardom before joining the Douglas clan. At the age of 19, Considine assumed the role of Mike Douglas, the eldest and most responsible son in the groundbreaking sitcom My Three Sons. His portrayal provided a steady grounding force within the chaotic all-male household, making him a quintessential teen idol of the era. For the show's first 5 seasons, his character served as the straight man to the comedic antics of his younger brothers, playing a vital role in establishing the series as a long-running cultural staple of 1960s television. While the character of Mike Douglas was content with his domestic role, Tim Considine was an ambitious artist who felt stifled by the limitations of acting in a sitcom. The contrast between his professional desires and his on-screen persona was sharp. He yearned to write and direct aspirations that led to significant friction with the show's production team. This professional struggle came to a head when he chose not to renew his contract in 1965 after being denied the opportunity to direct episodes, leading to his character being written out via marriage. Following his departure, Considine faced the difficult challenge of shedding his wholesome Disney kid image, finding that the industry had typecast him, which limited his opportunities for more complex adult roles. Tim Considine eventually pivoted away from Hollywood to pursue his deep passion for motorsports, reinventing himself as a respected automotive historian, photographer, and author. He wrote extensively for publications like Road and Track, and authored definitive books on racing history, finding the creative fulfillment behind the lens and on the page that he had sought as a young actor. Although he made sporadic acting appearances, such as in the film Patton, his later life was defined by his expertise in the automotive world rather than show business. Tim Considine passed away at his home in the Mar Vista neighborhood of Los Angeles on March 3, 2022, at the age of 81. He is remembered not only as a classic television brother, but also as a dedicated chronicler of racing heritage. Donn Lynn as Dodie Douglas. Born on January 11, 1963, in Los Angeles, California, the young actress joined the cast of the long-running sitcom My Three Sons during its 10th season in 1969. At the age of 6, Lynn's portrayal of Dodie Douglas introduced a crucial dynamic shift to the show, effectively ending the all-male household theme that had defined the series for nearly a decade. With her signature oversized glasses and pigtails, she became an instant fan favorite, representing the innocent yet precocious stepdaughter who finally brought a female perspective to the Douglas family. Her presence revitalized the aging series, helping it maintain popularity during its final years on the air. Despite the on-screen image of a sweet and naive little girl, Donn Lynn was a seasoned professional who took her work seriously, often displaying a maturity that exceeded her characters. However, the transition away from such a specific iconic role proved difficult. Following the cancellation of My Three Sons in 1972, she faced the classic struggles of a child actor attempting to avoid typecasting. While her brother Leif Garrett skyrocketed to teen idol fame, Lynn found the industry harder to navigate as she aged, dealing with the pressure of her identifiable childhood look and the scarcity of roles for adolescents that offered depth beyond the cute kid archetype. Donn Lynn continued to act sporadically through the 1970s, notably appearing in the Walking Tall trilogy, before eventually stepping away from Hollywood to pursue a quieter life in real estate and banking, residing for a time in Avalon on Santa Catalina Island. Her later years were marked by a severe health crisis. In late 2022, she underwent surgery for a brain tumor, which resulted in a coma and a long, arduous road to recovery. As of 2026, at the age of 62, she remains retired from the entertainment industry, focusing on her health and privacy while maintaining a bond with her brother and the surviving legacy of her classic television role. Ronne Troup as Polly Williams Douglas. Born on June 10, 1945, the Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania native grew up deeply embedded in the entertainment world as the daughter of musician Bobby Troup. At the age of 25, Troup joined the cast of My Three Sons, during its later seasons portraying Polly Williams, the girlfriend and eventual wife of Chip Douglas. Her character became a cultural staple for the era, representing the transition of the show's sons into adulthood and tackling the relatable tribulations of young marriage and elopement. For the show's final years, she provided a refreshing, grounded presence that helped evolve the series from a story about raising boys into one about an expanding multi-generational family. Despite playing a character who was often depicted as neurotic, high-strung, and easily overwhelmed by the chaotic Douglas household, Ronne Troup was composed and professional, viewing the industry with a realism inherited from her famous family. Her career was marked by a significant and painful what-if moment that occurred just before her success on My Three Sons. Troup had originally been cast as the lead in The Flying Nun, and even filmed the pilot only to be unceremoniously replaced by Sally Field, a professional heartbreak that required immense resilience to overcome. Additionally, her stability as Polly was short-lived. The cancellation of My Three Sons in 1972 came abruptly, leaving her and the cast without the closure of a proper finale after a 12-year run. Ronne Troup remained active in the industry for several years, frequently appearing on Emergency alongside her father and her stepmother Julie London before transitioning toward voice work and eventually a career in education. She prioritized her personal life over the limelight, maintaining a long-standing marriage to James Campbell, whom she wed in 1974. As of 2026, at the age of 80, she is retired and living a private life in California, largely stepped away from the entertainment business. While she rarely makes public appearances, she is remembered fondly by classic television enthusiasts for her integral role in concluding the saga of the Douglas family. Eleanor Audley as Mrs. Vincent. Born on November 19, 1905 in New York City, this distinctively voiced actress built a prolific career in radio and animation before becoming a staple of classic television. At the age of 54, Audley took on the role of Mrs. Vincent in My Three Sons, portraying the type of imperious high society woman that became her signature in Hollywood. Her performance contributed to the show's wholesome yet comedic dynamic, establishing her as the go-to character actress for imposing matriarchs and snooty neighbors, a cultural archetype she perfected throughout the 1950s and 60s. Despite her reputation for playing cold, villainous, or aristocratic characters, including the iconic voices of Maleficent and Lady Tremaine for Disney, Eleanor Audley was known in her private life as a warm, kind, and approachable woman, a stark contrast to the intimidating figures she portrayed. Her professional journey was marked by the struggle of severe typecasting. Her unique voice and stature often precluded her from playing softer, more sympathetic roles. Furthermore, she overcame significant physical hardship earlier in her career when a battle with tuberculosis forced her to step away from acting for years, an illness that permanently altered her voice but ultimately gave it the deep, resonant quality that defined her later success. Eleanor Audley continued to act in high-profile sitcoms, most notably as Mother Eunice Douglas on Green Acres, until heart issues forced her into retirement in the 1970s. She spent her later years living quietly in North Hollywood, stepping away from the industry that had relied so heavily on her commanding presence. Eleanor Audley passed away from respiratory failure on November 25, 1991, at the age of 86. She was interred at Mount Sinai Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles, leaving behind a legacy as one of the industry's most talented and recognizable character actresses. Olive Dunbar as Ruth Pfeiffer. Born on November 12, 1925 in Wellesley, Massachusetts, the talented character actress stepped into the wholesome world of the Douglas family during the golden age of sitcoms. At the age of 34, Dunbar took on the role of Ruth Pfeiffer, among other recurring appearances, in My Three Sons, contributing to a show that defined the American family structure for an entire generation. Her performance provided a steady, relatable presence in a series that ran for an impressive 12 seasons, helping to cement the show's legacy as a cornerstone of 1960s television culture and a model of domestic stability. While her on-screen personas often embodied the polite, efficient, or sometimes flustered women typical of mid-century sitcoms, Olive Dunbar possessed a depth and seriousness regarding her craft that contrasted with the light-hearted scripts she was often given. A dedicated stage veteran and serious method actor, she sometimes found the repetitive nature of sitcom work and the industry's tendency to typecast her as secretaries or prim housewives to be limiting. Like many character actors of her era, she faced the professional hardship of financial instability between gigs and the struggle for name recognition, often being the face audiences recognized but whose name they could not quite place. Olive Dunbar remained active in the entertainment industry well beyond her sitcom days, securing a permanent place in film history with her chilling portrayal of Mrs. Dunbar in the 1969 short film adaptation of The Lottery, which became a staple in American classrooms. She continued to act in films such as Girls Just Want to Have Fun, 1985, and appeared in various television spots into her later years. Dunbar passed away at a care facility in Ithaca, New York on February 8, 2017, at the age of 91, due to natural causes related to her advanced age. Her death marked the end of a long, workmanlike career that spanned nearly 6 decades, leaving behind a resume of memorable, if often understated, performances. Looking back at the stars of My Three Sons offers more than just a trip down memory lane. It's a tribute to the actors who became our extended family. Their legacy continues to resonate with generations who value the warmth of a simpler time. If this journey through the years touched your heart, please Give this video a like and hit that notification bell so you never miss another nostalgic tribute to the Golden Age.